own Abbas Hussain here from FightHype.com, and I'm here with none other than Richard Riakporhe. Richard, press conference done. You're fighting on a big card. Oleksandr Usyk, undisputed cruiserweight champion, fighting Tony Bellew, but you're on the undercard, cruiserweight yourself, fighting Sam Hyde for the WBA Intercontinental title. Talk to me about your feelings right now, what you're going through, what the sort of stages are for tomorrow and fight night.
Yeah, I'm just so happy. This is a major opportunity for me. You know, a lot of boxers don't get this type of opportunity, as you know, Abbas. So I'm just soaking everything up, and I feel blessed and humbled just by the whole experience and me getting an opportunity, essentially.
Rich, I want to talk about that press conference because you sort of let people know about your life and your past and everything else. So firstly, you spoke about you came here maybe 8 years ago. It was the Audley Harrison-David Hay fight, I believe, and you sort of soaked that atmosphere up. Talk to me about that experience and what you learned from that point onwards.
Yeah, so my brother got me some tickets for the Audley Harrison versus David Hay match, and me and my friends, two of my friends came, so we had free tickets. We got a train up here, and then we just came to the venue, watched the fight, obviously watched the undercard as well, saw this fight between Kenny Anderson and George Groves, and that was just amazing. Like, George Groves got put down, gum shield went flying out of the ring. I thought, wow, like, and he got back up and he managed to force a stoppage with a barrage of body shots, head and body, mixing up and down, and you know, I was just like, these guys deserve all of my respect, because for a man to sacrifice, you know, and discipline himself just to take part and participate in a boxing match and jump in the ring, you know, it's you know, they deserve all the respect. It's like a warrior sport, and I felt I like to think myself as a warrior myself, so it's just like, I just thought, you know what, I want to do something like this. At that time I was a novice amateur boxer, but I was aspiring to be a professional. 8 years later, I'm actually on the show at the MEN Arena fighting for a title. It's crazy, names on the billboards, pictures everywhere, getting all the attention. It's mad, it's crazy.
Richard, I want to talk about, you spoke about your sort of your life a couple of years ago, maybe just before boxing, where, you know, you were in trouble, you were getting in trouble. Talk to me about that period of your life and how boxing has changed your life. And like Adian said in the press conference, that, you know what, politicians should look at this and see the benefits of boxing. Talk to me about that part of your life and how boxing has helped you reach this point.
So yeah, that part of my life, I was up to no good, as you know. I felt like I was quite lost. I had no positive role models around me. Most of the people that I used to see were up to no good, but they looked good at the same time, and they had a lot of power, got a lot of attention from females. So plus, you know, it just looked like they were doing something right. You know, they had attention, they had the power, they had the women, they had money. You know, I thought, yeah, this makes sense. This is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm aspiring to be. They were like my role models then. But now, as I got older, I realized that's a short-lived life. Most of the people that are in that type of lifestyle, they end up either dead or in jail. And it's not too long that I found out. But by that time, I realized what I was involved in. I was so far deep in. I couldn't just go, okay then, guys, that's enough. I had fun. I'm gonna call it a day, and I'm gonna get on with my life and do something else. Because at that time, we generated so much trouble with other people, other gangs and stuff. So it was a thing where I could say today, I'm leaving. I'm not involved in this type of street culture life today, and go about my business. But I still had trouble with the guys across the road. So if they saw me walking and I didn't have anything on me, that's it. That, you know, they're coming for me. They couldn't care less whether you change your life or anything else. And that's what I was in. So I was kind of forced after a while to kind of stay in that type of lifestyle and wait till things died down. And that's when I could, you know, literally just go out and say, you know what, let me just try something different. But yeah, I'm very fortunate to be who I am. As you know, I nearly died. I got stabbed. I've been to prison. I was fortunate to not be convicted for that crime, which I didn't do. as well. It was not good. We got thrown out. So, but it was an experience for me. I was in jail for about 2 months and a bit or something like that. But the case got acquitted, thrown out. So I didn't get that conviction on my record. So it was a blessing where. But on the other hand, you know, I got friends that I hung around with day in, day out. I ain't talking about people that you say hi and bye to. I'm talking about people that we used to chill and got vibes, catch vibes, go places together. Every single day, go to his mom's house. These people are in jail today, doing life. And I've been there. I couldn't imagine myself in there. And when I got the opportunity to box, it kept me occupied. I didn't have the time on my hands to get myself or indulge in a lot of nonsense anymore. So what I did, I just focused on that. I stopped hanging around because I couldn't. If I had a fight on Saturday, how would I be able to hang around on the block on a Friday night or on a Thursday? I'd have to psych myself up and mentally prepare myself for my fight on Saturday. So I would go straight home. See, that's the benefits of boxing and what it did for me.
Can I ask you then, was there any sort of fighters that you watched growing up that you've taken as role models, whether it's inside the ring or outside the ring?
Yeah, obviously I like fighters. I used to look up to fighters that come from similar backgrounds to me. I heard, you know, a lot of these fighters like Mike Tyson, James Toney, a lot of them had a similar type of story. They come from nothing. Like, I don't know if my type of background was a bit more severe than I was, or if I was in it a bit more deeper than them. But a lot of people have this similar type of background, you know, and I think, especially the Mexican fighters, and I believe that these fighters that have this type of background, after assessing them all, they end up having great futures in boxing and winning titles and everything. So, you know, I just feel like I'm on that right path, and you know, I never glorify, you know, where I come from and all of the stuff that I experienced, that type of gang culture, but it has changed me and made me stronger. It's like everything that I went through kind of led me here, if you know what I mean. And if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have probably got this far. Do you understand what I mean? So all the people that are involved in that, they got tons of opportunities to go in different directions before it's too late. And I advise them to, you know, just do something and follow their passion. If they have any interest in anything, just go for it, because things will change just like that overnight, and that's how I felt it was with me.
Let's talk about your fight on Saturday night. Sam Hyde is your opponent, somebody who we know in the British sort of domestic scene, somebody who's obviously trained by Joe Gallagher. But talk to me about him. What do you make of Sam Hyde as a fighter?
Yeah, Sam Hyde is a pretty decent fighter. Come forward, he has a good background. He's won the ABAs and stuff like that. Plus, he's in a good camp, and there's good energy in that camp. In terms of his punch selection, he throws a lot of bent arm shots as well, I know, and he has to push forward. So our styles definitely will gel on Saturday night. You know, me, powerful puncher, and can box at the same time, and him trying to get on my chest. I feel like he has to take a lot more risks than me. So it's a dangerous fight for him at the same time, and obviously for me at the same time. So, but yeah, I'm very well prepared, and I commend Sam Hyde for taking that fight.
Just looking at you, Richard, you're quite a big cruiserweight. Do you struggle to make the weight at any point?
No, I don't struggle to make the weight. Before I was making light heavy, but I was like, but now it's just all about diet. You know, diet discipline. You know, I eat, I hydrate very well, so I'm pretty fine making weight. Most of my fights, my first 4 fights, I was weighing in on the scales 191 pounds. And people think, are you crazy? I was giving away so much weight. It's only till I started to work with Mark Tibbs, and Mark Tibbs saying, what are you weighing, Richard? Why you don't do that? You know, you can like weigh in like maximum like 14 stone 8. I was like, what? Are you being serious for a non-Thai fight? I didn't know. So I was just giving away a lot of weight for no reason. But I still managed to get most of them opponents out of the ring within the distance. So it's all good.
Obviously, you're on the card for a big fight Oleksandr Usyk, the undisputed cruiserweight champion, just received his Ring magazine today, got presented with it, fighting Tony Bellew in Manchester. Tell me what you make of that fight and who do you reckon is going to win that fight and how?
I feel like it's a 50-50 fight, but because just remember, it's like Tony Bellew has that experience, plus he has that powerful left hook. He can punch. Everybody knows this, but at the same time, he's up against a formidable character, a formidable opponent, where he throws out. His volume of punches is very high. He moves around like an amateur. It's a very difficult style. Plus, he's a southpaw. It's difficult, and also he's got so much confidence. He's with a really good team. I don't know. Like it can go either way because you can't really write off Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew has a large fighting spirit, and his will. If he imposes his will on Usyk that night and hurts him at one stage in the fight, then that could change everything. So, he's at a high percentage of winning, equal percentage. And obviously, Usyk, he's a boxer. Everybody knows he's gonna box his way through the rounds. But just remember, in a 12-round fight, Tony Bellew knows how to reserve himself and pick the right shots and find a way. So it could go either way for me. I hope it goes to Bellew because I really like that.
But what do you really make of Usyk as a fighter? He's done a lot in the amateur game, and obviously in the pro game, he's done the max you can do at the division. What do you make of him as a fighter?
He's one of those fighters that come once in a while, once every decade. He's won the Europeans, the Worlds, the Olympics, and went pro in 15 fights. They became the undisputed champion of the world, all 4 belts. It's crazy. Like, you see, fighters like that, they come around ever so often. So you have to give him credit when it's due. He has great reflexes. He trains really hard. They have a weird type of technique when they train. Because I was with one of his close friends when I was in Poland, and they play with a lot of balls, juggling and things like this. I think it's good for perception. When balls coming back to the eyes, so they're able to react faster, than the average person. But at the same time, Tony Bellew's got this similar type of reflexes. Everybody saw his performance against David Haye when he was just out of the way, in and out, using his leg. He looked fresh. So it's so interesting, man. Everybody's looking forward to nobody really knows. Everybody's leaning towards Usyk for points to outbox him. And they're saying if Tony Bellew has a chance, he has to knock him out. So but he's got a chance at the same time. So it's quite interesting.
Do you take any sort of inspiration, or do you see anything from Tony Bellew's journey? Because I spoke to him earlier. I asked him a question about did he think he'd ever be in this position, and he said, "Yes, I believed I'd be a world champion, but fighting for the undisputed titles was a whole different ballgame." So obviously, do you see somebody like Tony Bellew as an inspiration of where he's come from, what he's done, become a world champion, now he's fighting for the undisputed titles?
Yeah, of course. I see myself in him a lot, especially him getting knocked down in his early fights, getting up and finding a way to win. His will to win is phenomenal. Like there's only a few people that have that type of fighting spirit that really believe in themselves, and even when nobody else believes in you, you have no choice but to believe in yourself. And he's got that. A lot of fighters, they need that push from other people. Like, this, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. But I find myself one of them fighters that, okay, you want to doubt me? Fine, we'll see on fight night. And he's one of those type of people. I can see it, and you can see it with his character, his aura and everything. So yeah, of course, I do look up to him, and I think he's an amazing boxer. He will definitely go down to one of the best boxers that come out of this country.
Richard, whilst I've got you, I need to ask you about a couple more fights. You're part of the Dillon White camp. You're trained by the same trainer. You sort of roll together. You train together. Obviously, his fight with Chisora rematch has been announced. Got announced last week. Talk to me about that fight. The first fight was very close. People had it towards Chisora. Other people had it towards Dillon White. Talk to me about the rematch. How do you see that rematch playing out?
So the rematch, they say you should judge a boxer by his last performance. After watching Chisora's performance against Takam, it wasn't too good. He pulled that one out of the bag. Everybody knows that. You know, he hit him with that right hand, but the previous rounds showed a lot. He stayed on the ropes. He tried to do a rope-a-dope. He was getting touched, you know, quite a lot. I was there ringside, so you know, I could see everything that was going on quite clearly. And I believe that Dillon is always improving each and every single fight. He's always improving. And I spoke to him recently, and he's telling me that he's personal, his PBs, he's beating them every single week. He's got his weight down even more, lower than what he was for his last fight against Parker. Listen, plus he's stronger physically. So there's going to be big problems. There's going to be big problems for Chisora. And I don't know, I think it was 6 weeks. I think it was 6 weeks out of that fight. It's pretty close. Like, how much can you do in that space of time to change that? And if that worked for him before, for that Takam fight, and he tries to do that again against Dillon, and Dillon decides to move away and box him, he's definitely losing. And I see him probably getting stopped in around 8 or 9 or something. 8 or 9 rounds, definitely.
I want to ask you about another fight, a big fight that got announced probably over a month ago, was Tyson Fury fighting Deontay Wilder. That sort of shocked everyone when that announcement came out, that fight was going to happen, because people thought it might be a bit too early for Tyson. But what do you make of that fight? Do you believe it's too early for Tyson, and who do you see winning that fight?
Initially, I was like, Tyson Fury shouldn't have taken that fight. It's a bit too early for him. Coming off that layoff, he needs a few more fights to just condition his body and keep his weight and just kind of work on performing on at that weight after losing that much weight, because it's quite dangerous for him to just take a big fight like that against somebody that's, you know, very game, hard puncher. His record speaks for itself. I thought that was crazy initially, but then once you learn more about boxing, you learn that it's all in the mind. This sport is, like, in my opinion, 20% physical and then 80% mental. So if you believe that you can go in the ring and do a job on an opponent, you probably can. You know what I'm saying? That's how powerful the mind is. And everybody knows Tyson Fury is one of them characters. When he fought Klitschko, he was saying, yeah, I'm going to beat this guy. I never fought in a million years. Nobody thought he was going to win. This guy dethroned the super champion. They didn't call him the champion of the world. They called him the super champion because he held the belts and defended them for so long. And everybody was shocked. And obviously, just remember, for you to do that, that's going to develop a lot of belief and in a boxer, a lot of self-belief. And he knows, and everybody knows, that Deontay Wilder is not that much of a technical boxer. So if Tyson Fury can outbox him and he's pretty fit, you know, it makes it a bit more interesting. It might not be just one-sided as everybody's thinking at them, I thought previously. So I don't know. It could go. Tyson Fury could win, and I never thought I would say that. Tyson Fury could definitely win this fight, but it might be one of those fights where it's just a spoiler.
Talk about the heavyweight division there. Who do you believe is sort of the king of the heavyweight division? We know that Joshua's got all these belts. Obviously, Fury's the lineal champion, and we've got the WBC champion in Wilder. Then you've got your own buddy Dillon White coming up the ranks, and Luis Ortiz, and there's other names there. But who do you reckon is the king of that division at this present time?
Obviously, Anthony Joshua's got most of the belts, so he's at the top. Tyson Fury's the lineal champion. He's right there as well. Deontay Wilder's the champion as well. He's right there as well. Dillon White is up there as well. So it's so different. It's so difficult.
If you were to pick one name, because say there's only one person I can say to you.
At the top, yeah, it's definitely Anthony Joshua. He's at the top because he's got most of the belts. But you know what they say, you know, when you're at the top, you know, the only way is down. So it makes it more interesting. Everybody's hungry. Dillon White is hungry. Deontay Wilder's hungry. Everybody knows he's hungry. Tyson Fury, he's hungry. He wants to get back out there. he truly believes that he will make a mockery of Anthony Joshua. So Anthony Joshua has to work even harder now. That's how it goes anyway. When you get to the top, you have to work even harder to stay there. So it makes it even more interesting. But people should definitely watch out for Dillon White, because trust me, listen, that guy is a monster. He's an ox. He's an ox and he's on it. He's game. He doesn't mind fighting anybody. And I get a lot of inspiration from him as well. So,
Richard, just final one. Taking about 20 minutes of your time. But what does Richard Riakporhe do, when he's got to chill out, when he's away from the boxing scene? What do you get up to, man? What's your life like outside the squared circle?
Well, from Monday to Friday, from Monday to Friday I trained, and then from Thursday to Sunday I'll party each and every night. No, I'm joking. To be honest, if I'm not fighting, I'll train. I'll make sure that I'm always conditioned and always learning. And fundamentally, just make sure that I'm, always improving on my craft and take time to chill. I like to travel a lot, visit different countries. Also, especially if they are big in they're fans of boxing and there's boxing gyms out there or very good boxers, I love to just go over there and just learn different things. That's it, me really. I like to read a lot, watch a lot of documentaries, just learn. I just love learning.
Sorry, Richard, I was supposed to ask you one more question as well. This week, Floyd, news broke and a press conference came out from Japan that Floyd Mayweather was going to fight this kickboxer, and then I don't know what happened. A couple of days later, Floyd came on yesterday. He actually put on his Instagram that no, nothing's been agreed and the fight's not going to happen. But what do you make of the whole situation, number one? And secondly, would you like to see Floyd back in the ring or maybe fighting in the MMA sort of octagon or anything like that?
First of all, when I saw that fight announced, I thought, this guy is a mastermind. This guy is a mastermind. He just knows how to get the bag. After it got called off, I was like, what? So I went onto YouTube and I typed in this guy's name, his opponent, which was scheduled, and then I saw him doing some crazy back kicks, front kicks, spin kicks, and I thought, okay, this makes sense now. Why would you want to fight someone like that? Listen, when you're like a boxer, obviously you're conditioned to fight in a certain way. Just like a kickboxer, they're conditioned to fight in a different type of way. We're not conditioned to take shots on our legs. And imagine getting one kick and it touches one of our nerves. That's it. We can't fight. We can't even box no more. But they're conditioned to take the kicks and give and take. So listen, any wise person would not take a fight with a serious kickboxer like that. He looked good. Did you see the? Listen, it makes sense, and everybody knows Floyd Mayweather is a very smart individual. So I'm not surprised that didn't finalize. Sorry. The last question you said, who would I like to see? Would I like to see back in the ring?
Because the only reason I ask you that is there is rumours that maybe at some point next year the rematch with Pacquiao could happen. If Pacquiao beats Broner, which is sort of scheduled to happen or going to be scheduled to happen, there may be a potential fight with Mayweather may occur later on in 2019. What do you make of if Mayweather was to return to the ring?
To be honest, I'm not really too interested in that. I don't think a lot of people will be interested. Well, of course, because it's Mayweather, people would want to see it. But it's not a fight like, oh my gosh, I really want to see that fight. I think what would be more interesting if he was to fight someone like Adrian Broner, just to kind of build up, just to watch the build up and stuff, the slander, because that would be funny. It would be good to actually see him live, because I haven't seen him fight live. So I think it will be one of those them wants or desires, personal desires for me. But yeah, to be honest, I think he's at that stage now. He doesn't really need to fight no more. Well, maybe he has some financial issues or a bit more bills and he needs to make extra money. But he's proven himself, man. He's a legend. People are arguing whether he's the best ever boxer, not just a great champion. Listen, once your name is being thrown into them conversations, like, what more do you want? And obviously, as I said before, when you're at the top, the only way is down. So it could be a hindrance. When you get too greedy now, you come back in the ring, you want to fight a young, hungry fighter, you make a mistake, then that's you could potentially just kind of just mess everything that you work for and everything that you treat. You might just compromise it, just for money. So, and he's got money as well. Or he looks like it.
Right, Richard, that's 25 minutes in, and I know you look a bit tired, but finally, what do you want to say to your fans, to people watching on Saturday night? They're going to be watching you fight Sam Hyde.
Yeah, I just want to thank all the fans for the messages and the tweets I've been getting. I've got a lot of attention from the toe-to-toe of Sky Sports, and a lot of people are tuning in and they're really inspired by my story. I just want to thank you all. Thank you for the love, and I'm going to give it all my all on Saturday. So just make sure you tune in, and I want to hear you screaming through the television. Richard Riakporhe, thank you for talking to FightHype.com.